Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another fantastic edition of Sitback with Shaq and Anu. We're coming to you live once again on a Tuesday night on Channel One Dialog TV and of course our YouTube platforms on Pornhub. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and welcome to the show.
Absolutely. Today is a very happy day for me.
Oh, look at you.
No, because I managed an absolute full tank of petrol.
Yeah, I don't know how he does this.
I have saved, scrimped, scrounged, done everything possible and managed to top it up. And I still have 5 liters left over from the weekly quota.
Wow.
Yeah. And I have managed to get a full to the brim. I have not felt content like this in a long time.
That's good for you. Good for you.
I of course love to rub this in Shaq's face.
Every day. Every day. Maybe you should start giving out tips on exactly how to accomplish a full tank with a stipulated amount that you can pump.
Correct. You know, all about little management tactics. You know?
And then buy the stuff.
I've done that.
Anyway, as always on the show today and always on the show as far as Sitback is concerned, we always speak to a wonderful guest talking about a current topic, a trending topic in Sri Lanka. And today we've got someone who is no stranger to the music industry in Sri Lanka. Of course, she's been around for a long time and so many accomplishments. We'll talk all about that as we go along. Soundarie David Rodrigo. Good evening, Soundarie.
Good evening to you, Shaq.
Thank you.
Soundarie, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here because, you know, we've grown up together with your music. And I mean, so many family members. In fact, my niece is in one of your classes now. And my sister-in-law
is my oldest chorister.
Absolutely. Like who is also a big part of the Aragale, mind you. So when she's not shouting at the, she's usually trying to, you know, little baritone number there with Soundarie.
So we're going to talk about, of course, Soundarie just got back from the Bali Choral Festival. And we're going to be talking about that. And of course, and very, very prestigious as far as Sri Lankans are concerned. She was on the judging panel. She's been on the judging. You've been on the judging panel for a while, haven't you?
Yeah, I think, so the World Choir Council, that is Interculture, they invited me way back in 2006. So I've been judging the World Choir Games. But this is something very special. I'll talk to you more about it.
Lovely. Lots to talk about. And of course, before we move on, thank you so much to our wonderful sponsors. Dara's on the show with us. And we've got something interesting lined up for you. We spoke about it yesterday.
Yep.
And a chance for you to win the Dara's product or the deal of the day. We'll give you the details right about now. Let's just take a look at the deal of the day. Rightio. Okay.
Very simple. So do we reveal what the deal of the day is?
We will.
Because all you got to do is, you know, here it is, the Dara's deal of the day. It's a D13 smartwatch, you know, which monitors your blood pressure, which is sometimes not good news, but you know, you better to know rather. Anyway, all you got to do is, you know, go to the Dara's site, take a screenshot of this deal, and of course you need to WhatsApp it to the number you see at the bottom of the screen. That's 075 011 7777. Okay, take a screenshot of the deal of the day on the Dara's site and WhatsApp it the image to 075 011 7777, and at the end of the show we will announce today's winner and what the winner walks away with. Yesterday we got it wrong.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, it's not vouchers to the value of the product that you see, it's actually the product that you see.
So you're going to walk off with that D13 watch that you just saw on the screen. So all you need to do is, like Anu said, send in those details on to the WhatsApp number, which is on your screen right now. Once again, 075 011 7777 on the Dara's app. Send a screenshot. So that is Dara's deal of the day. Time for us to get into our daily poll.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Daraj.
And we are back. And as always, the daily poll is geared to kind of accommodate the guest on the show. And without further ado, it is this. It's a yes or no answer that we are looking for. Is there a future for trained singers in Sri Lanka? Yes or no? Is there a future for trained singers in Sri Lanka? Yes or no? Yes or no? Please WhatsApp your answer to our hotline 077 669 1590. And at the end of the show, we will tell you where the answers stand.
Right, back with Soundarie on the show with us. Of course, it's an interesting question that we can actually jump on during the show. The reason, of course, I think this poll is out is the fact that you've got lots of singers.
Yeah.
Lots of them obviously have gone for vocal training, and of course
some haven't.
Some haven't, and some are still trying to sing.
They really need it. Sorry about that. But
what is the difference between vocal training and calling yourself a trained singer? Or is it the same thing?
So vocal training, so if you have vocal training, then you could call yourself a trained singer.
Okay.
But when it comes to vocal training, I try my best not to change the uniqueness of each individual voice. I try not to make them all sound like operatic singers. So it really depends on what your voice quality is like. You could be a great jazz singer, you could have a nice low range, you could have that operatic, depth in your voice, you could have a musical theatre belt, which is a technique in musical theatre. So it's more or less identifying what you have and then working on it. And there are things like breath control, things which you will need if you are to become a performing singer. So yeah, training just further enhances what you already have.
Right.
I mean, that's the way I look at it.
Right, okay.
so some people really need to be told that they don't have it. So therefore you can't
How do
be
you
trained.
tell them,
No,
Soundarie?
I try not to, because I truly believe that with
You truly believe everyone can sing?
I truly believe we can make everybody sing. They may not be as good as those who are naturally blessed with the talent.
Right.
But I'm sure even the two of you can sing, right?
Yeah, I try not to because
And who told you you can't sing?
pretty much everyone. So please don't quit your day job. That's what they told me.
Shut up.
Shut up already. So I thought, enough. So I haven't tried any of these things, even in
But
theatre.
no one has told you. A vocal coach hasn't told you.
No, certainly not. But
Okay.
so as a result, even in theatre, when it comes to, you've never seen me in a musical, for
okay,
instance.
yeah.
I'll try to find the one part that's just the
Doesn't
speaking
have,
part in the narrator in the musical. Therefore, but what I'm trying to say is that, so pretty much, Soundarie, that means you put up with flat singers for about 25 years. In
that 25 years, I'm sure they improve.
Correct.
I mean, I wouldn't say people are tone deaf, but you can get your ear tuned to learning to singing pitch. Of course, there are the difficult cases as well. But I think the ones who actually want vocal training have identified that they can sing.
Right. Okay, so that was just a by the way question.
Yeah.
If we can join the class or not. Clearly we can't. No.
You're not encouraged.
So let's talk about where you just returned. You obviously landed on Sunday from the Bali choral competition. Explain how that was, the experience. Of course, this is not the first time you've been there, like you said,
Yeah.
but this time was for the first time after the pandemic. So how was it? How was the whole
So
experience?
2019 was when I was there last. That was the 8th Bali International Choral Festival. And then the pandemic hit us all. And then we were invited, the judges, we were invited back again this year. So the artistic director, his name is Mr. Tomiyanto Kandisaputra, a guru, I would say, in choral music in this part of the world.
Okay.
And he called it the reunion because we were all coming together after 3 years of not singing together.
Right.
So I thought it was a great effort, and we had lots of choirs, and I think what was truly special was the fact that we as judges realized the pandemic had not really affected the music because the passion was there. They were still singing together. They were still singing well together.
Wow.
So it gave us hope.
Right. Now,
Countries like
even during the pandemic, though, we saw lots of, I think you were also part of it, lots of choirs obviously put up some virtual stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
That must have been really difficult.
Yeah, virtual stuff was difficult because I remember the time when we couldn't even meet, so they had to record their lines on the phone and send it. So my thing with the virtual choir, I think it gave the children, the young teenagers, something to work towards too.
Right.
But when it came to virtual choirs, I think a lot of work was put in by the sound engineer who was actually putting it together.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Because even I couldn't check on whether they were singing in pitch. They would send the recording and I would send back my comments, then send it to whoever was putting it together. He would be saying, is this pitch correct? And it's worse still if he didn't know to read music.
Right.
So it
yeah.
was much tougher.
We realized how tough it was because we actually put together a virtual track with, I think Soul Sounds was also part of it.
Yeah.
And our sound engineer left us after that. So if this is what we are supposed to do, I don't want to be any part of it. He left the company.
Right.
So anyway, getting back to the judging panel. You were on the judging panel. How are the standards compared
Standards
to the
very-
pandemic to now?
I won't say the standards had gone down.
Right.
So they had maintained standards, that I would say. And in fact, I came back thinking, I mean, this is again my personal opinion, so this is not to judge anybody here, but with my choirs, I thought I should really work much more because the standards were so high there.
Really?
And we
Wow.
didn't have a Sri Lankan choir representing Sri Lanka also because of our financial issues here in the country. But we have a lot of work.
What was the process? I mean, being part of the judging panel, you must be obviously privy to the backstory of putting this together in Bali. And what was the process like?
So, I mean, all these international competitions usually have this standard procedure of judging where we look in intonation, fidelity to score, sound quality, and overall artistic impression. So everything goes, it's not just studying the music score and making sure they sing every note correctly, but how they present themselves. And that too depends on the category. So there is the music of religions where it's not just Christian, but various, even the Muslim groups came and sang. It was really nice Indonesian groups. Then we had pop and jazz. Then we have vocal groups, which are the smaller pop groups. So according to genre, we judge accordingly. Of course, the criteria remains the same.
Right, right.
So of course, the pop and jazz, there's no fidelity to score because they are free to come up with their own arrangements.
Right, yeah.
But it was also interesting to see how each judge from the choral traditions they come from judge. So we had an Italian on board, we had this lady from Greece, Malaysia, Philippines, Korea, Thailand. So it was really interesting.
Wow. How many judges in total?
So we had parallel competitions going. So on any given judging board, there were 5.
And how many
Yeah.
countries were represented in the
So this time it was a majority of the choirs were from Indonesia, but we had Papua and a few other countries as well. But again, because travels plans.
yeah.
But in 2019 we had a lot of choirs, including South Africa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, you of course took Soul Sounds to the World Choir Games. Of course, they won. It was the first time that obviously Sri Lanka has been recognized in that manner. From that point onwards, you've seen many, many choir games and choral festivals. From that point onwards to where we are right now, has there been a transition? Or has it been like, you know, this is what you're supposed to expect and you expect exactly that all the time?
No, I think so. We first represented Sri Lanka as a choir in 2004.
Right.
That was in Wales, in Langlockland.
Yeah.
I'm sure your
Yes, I remember.
sister-in-law
Yeah.
would have told you. So,
Yeah.
I think when we came back, I think that's how, or I would like to think, that we kind of paved the way for many other choirs and for choral singing to become quite active in Sri Lanka.
And popular and the kind of aspired
Yeah,
to...
exactly.
Nothing to think about, Soundarie. That's exactly what changed the game.
I guess. And then in 2006, we went to China for the World Choir Games. And there we saw the gospel choirs, we saw the pop and jazz. I remember this choir from Indonesia came and did a Stevie Wonder medley.
Oh, wow.
And for the first time, we saw all choristers, they didn't stand in 2 lines and sing. Right? So, you know, earlier the norm was you were just come, put your hand like this and sing in 2 lines. Then they were all on individual mics. One mic to hold the mic, other hand was doing all actions, and for the pop band. So we watched those and then we improved ourselves, and then we in turn paved the way for other groups. in this country. So I think it has evolved, and overall choral singing, and we don't restrict ourselves to only music of the religion or sacred music. You know, it's pop and jazz. It's gone beyond.
And I remember, Soundarie, that you all went to the US as well, and you saw black choirs singing gospel music.
Yeah.
And I remember my sister-in-law telling me that was a transformative moment.
Exactly.
Because you've seen it all on TV,
I know.
but when you see it live, it was a completely
different.
different.
And they kind of get into a trance. And I remember this Crenshaw elite choir. Actually, Marisa would tell you about it. There was this 80-year-old woman with a walking stick, and she was actually headbanging.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was like so inspirational.
There you go.
Yeah.
So we're talking about the Bali Choir Festival, and before we actually talk more about it, I think it's appropriate that we let you in on the stuff that actually took place.
Absolutely, what it looks like, so that you get a
how
little...
it transformed and how inspirational at the end of the day it really was. So we've got a little show reel for you. Sit back and take a look at this.
Bali International Choir Festival yang ke-11.
Dimulaikan oleh PSM Suara Wandalan.
What a great atmosphere.
I tell you.
Yeah,
You could feel it from here, right?
Exactly. It feels like, I mean, it was a really awesome atmosphere. And of course, in Bali, one of the most beautiful countries, beautiful islands, as a matter of fact. Who won?
So there were different categories,
Right.
and each category had a category winner, and then there was a Grand Prix where there was like one winner, and that was where all the jury members sat together, and so and so there was a children's choir category winner competing with an adult choir category, so it was really tough.
Nice.
But it's really nice. The atmosphere, and it's also very encouraging. I don't know whether you noticed in the video, there's one point where all the jury members had a little desk and we would talk to. So that is the meet the jury process. So we get to advise the choir on where to improve. So they get a chance to meet all the jury members as well.
Wow.
And then there are friendship concerts in the evening. There's the gala dinner. There's the award ceremony. It's really a great experience. Actually, all the choral festivals and competitions that are conducted, the ones I have been to, have this kind of atmosphere, and it brings people together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think why this was special is we were not together for the last 3 years.
Right,
So if you see, people were actually tearing, crying.
And one thing that we obviously did notice, and Anu and I were talking about it while this was going, of course, is traditionally, when you talk about a choral or choir festival or choral games, you see them in cassocks. And that's what you sort of expect them. But they were in costumes.
Yeah, different costumes. So I think you would have noticed a lot of folk music. So
That's
there's
right.
an entire folklore category.
Right.
So then they get into their traditional from whatever region or in Indonesia where they come from. And pop, I mean, in fact, I took some pictures because the costumes are really interesting, going with the genre of the songs they're singing. So I think we are also breaking away from that, traditional costume, traditional singing in 2 lines, all that.
That's what it is.
Are the Italians and the Greeks resisting it?
I don't think so. I mean, they still keep their traditions alive. But I mean, the Western classical music, choral singing, church music is still there, and standards are maintained. But it also gives room for other people to explore, I would say.
Right. Why are choral festivals and choir games such a big deal? We see so many countries now hosting it. And countries, obviously, who are using this as a pillar for individuals to come down to their country or so on. But why is it such a big deal now?
It's also a destination branding attempt also, right?
Yeah. I think it is a destination branding as well. From a musician, a choral point of view, it's coming together. I mean, Soul Sounds has traveled all over the world. And just being together, performing to other people, the vibes you get, it's a different feeling altogether. And also listening to others, we learn so much. I mean, I know we personally learned by listening to other choirs. But I think there's a lot of scope in Sri Lanka. It's not just my choir. There are so many choirs coming up now, very good choirs. So I think we should do another choral festival here. So I'm not sure whether you guys know, but 2017 we hosted the Asia Pacific Choir Games in Sri Lanka.
Okay.
So
I didn't know about it because Soundarie told me about this. Did you
where
know about
were you at that time?
2017, I don't know, under a table somewhere.
I completely missed it somehow.
So then obviously it wasn't big enough.
There you go. So
So that actually gives us, that's a good learning,
Yes.
So that most of the populace would have been ignorant of the fact that we actually held the world event.
So what happened was there's this organization called the Interculture. It's based in Germany, so they are the ones who organize the World Choir Games. And the Asia Pacific Choir Games and World Choir Games, you can actually bid to have it in your country. And we did that at that time, and then we got the games down here.
Right.
And quite a few Sri Lankan, I think the venues were the Nelumpokuna and the Lanalven. We had a few church concerts as well. But I guess since it was the first time we hosted an international, and the fact that both of you didn't know about it, maybe we could have worked harder.
Being in media.
So I'm going to ask you this question live on TV, Soundarie. Why can't you actually organize another one?
No, I would love to, but do you think the time is right? I mean, our country, you just manage.
I mean, just what Anu pointed out, it's destination marketing.
I mean, so actually
we
it's
want
a big
tourists to come to Sri
favor
Lanka.
for the country, and at the same time, a perfect way to showcase the multifaceted, multi-talented nature, especially of a country like Sri Lanka.
Yes,
true.
And
something I've had a biggest grouse about in this country is that we don't see enough of Tamil culture.
Right.
Their music, their art. We don't see enough of Muslim culture, their music, and I've been telling my friends in theatre who are, Tamils and Muslims, I said, Patan, you really must, cultural identity is the key thing about freedom.
That's true.
I'm sure you must be knowing, we recently formed the Muslim choral ensemble.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I actually saw big clips of that on social media.
So that is also very progressive, I think, for Sri Lanka. And then, so for that launch concert, we had a concert called Voices of Peace on the 27th of February this year. So we put together also a Hindu ensemble.
Oh, nice.
So,
I think this is the start. That makes perfect sense, and especially if you're going to host something of a world nature, we must show our multifaceted. You know, we call ourselves multicultural. We say it out loud. It's like our Prajatantravadi or Samajavadi. It's just there. You know? So when you say multicultural, multifaceted, you must prove it.
That's right. I mean, thing is this, I don't think there is a better time than now for us to basically do something of this nature and many other different, inviting people to come to Sri Lanka.
True.
Because you can't just basically stand up there and say, please come to Sri Lanka.
Exactly.
Why would
You have to
create a reason.
Yeah, correct.
You know, yes, you'd like for a holiday, but more than a holiday. And I think this is a fantastic idea. We should work on this, Soundarie.
Yeah, definitely. When that coffee date actually happens.
The coffee date has been postponed a few years.
No, but I think Sri Lanka has a lot of potential. I mean, the destination itself.
That's right.
I mean, we've got the locations, we've certainly got the talent.
Yeah.
And, you know, we bring culture, such a cultural element to this. You know?
And one thing I must say, because personally the international choral community has helped me a lot in the last 3 years. They've all come together, helped us. We recently concluded a summer camp where our tutors were from all over the world. So they are ever willing to help Sri Lanka at this time of need.
That's great.
And even the Bandung Choral Society, and from where Mr. Tommy Kandisaputra has organized this whole Bali International Choral Festival. There's so much to learn from. I'm sure they'll come forward and help us also, and at least invite them to come to Sri Lanka.
Yeah, for sure. And then,
Certainly,
you know,
certainly.
and that, imagine, considering how massive social media is, you know, you have obviously people taking pictures of Sri Lanka and, you know, letting everybody know what Sri Lanka really is.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And at the same time, you know, fostering talent here.
Yeah, of
you know,
course.
because the more exposed you are to global culture and, you know, that kind of level of talent, you know,
Exactly.
obviously you're going to up your game. This what happened to Sri Lanka cricket.
That is right. That actually takes me to the next question, Soundarie. The thing is, now we're a country blessed with talent, you know, in so many different areas, and of course, vocal talent. Sri Lankans are by nature, they're very happy, you know, individuals, love to sing.
Yeah.
even
Very
when-
island.
Exactly.
Very
yeah,
island
even
mentality,
on a
yeah.
trip or whatever it is,
Yeah.
you love to sing all the time, right? But I mean, why is it difficult for us to actually compete at the highest level? If like singing is in our blood.
It's, I think, lack of resources, lack of support. I mean, I remember when we went in 2004 just to get sponsors. At that time, myself and the girls were virtually begging on the streets asking for sponsorship.
Right.
So, like you brought up sports, right? Now, cricket, you'll get your sponsors. But when you say-
See, the thing with cricket also is the fact that the sponsors started flooding in after the World Cup.
yes.
Why did it not change after Soul Sound was won back in 2000?
Because choral singing was still not, you know, it was pictured as confined to the churches and, you know,
Right, yeah,
that
right.
kind of thing. Okay, maybe now.
Okay.
I think a lot changed thanks to Glee.
Yeah,
You know,
true.
people
Glee
saw
and the-
Glee and realized, oh my God, there's a sexiness to, you know, this singing, because everybody just thought, you know, a moment like you get that one guy at the party who can play the guitar, you're flooded. He can't even have a drink. But straw I can take one, yeah, but you know, but it became something completely different. The outfits, the atmosphere, the sexiness, and you know, and it encompasses. Music encompasses kind of the gamut of human feelings.
And I think in our own country, I mean, look at what Voice Print has done. I think
course.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. So they've come out, they've brought in that element of choral singing, but in a way that could reach out to the masses.
Exactly. There
Yeah.
is, I mean, I think we are just sitting on an abundance of talent.
Definitely.
Not knowing what to do with them. That's the problem here. Dylan actually has a question for you, Soundarie. Straight up question.
Oh, gosh.
What makes Soul sound so successful?
You think we're successful?
But Dylan does.
I would say a lot of hard work and commitment and perseverance, because there have been times when we could have easily given up.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, lots of things went wrong. We never could make targets, even when we wanted. So I could write a book on what not to do, but yet be. You know?
Right.
Like, for instance, I would enter a competition not knowing how I'm going to get the money to go there.
Right.
So all the wrong way. So I'm not saying that's the correct thing, but it seemed to have worked for me. So a lot of hard work. And also none of us, at that time, even I was working full-time, none of us did music full-time.
Right.
So we still sacrificed a lot.
So obviously, and also you do also have this knack of finding the right voices over the years. You've had that, haven't you?
Yeah, I guess. So we've had some exceptionally talented people in the choir and those who, just like to sing. So it's a blend of both.
Right.
And personalities also count. Of course, there are quite a lot of strong personalities in the choir.
Thank heavens for that. No, because you need that attitude, right? Because otherwise, your personality, your attitude kind of gives you that confidence to go out there and, at least, kind of push the boundaries.
Exactly.
I mean, going into theatre, I can give you an example of how we found people who say, backstage, then you know what? Shone on the stage.
Right.
So it
I
is what it
think
is.
also in all fairness, so in 2004 we were still the Holy Family Convent Bambalapitiya choir that went. So the school supported the best girls' school, Shaq in India. So do you agree?
I agree wholeheartedly.
You have no
Please,
choice.
can I just say that again? I agree wholeheartedly that Holy Family Convent Bambalapitiya is the best, not even girls' school, best school in the country.
You have to go back home. That's why. That's why.
There are mothers-in-law.
What do you say, Shaq?
What do I say? What?
What's the best girls' school?
Please carry on with what you need to say because this conversation will go on a different line now.
So what I want to say is I think the school also supported us. I mean, here was me coming back from London because I had just finished my studies in London, came back and I was like, let's take this choir and go abroad, and nobody had done it before. So they still had faith in me, and I am truly grateful for
Absolutely.
that.
And I remember this, and I've dropped Marissa.
Were you married at that time?
No, it was just before, 2 years before the. Anyway. And I used to come and drop Marissa so many times at your Vallavata house, and I hear you playing the piano in the background, so I know it's on. And I come and pick her back up 2 hours later, and Soundarie is still playing the piano.
It's still on.
And shouting randomly at someone.
So when did you decide to start the academy, Soundarie? I mean, what was the reason behind that?
So I remember when I came back from England, my mom was like, now that you have the choir also, just start teaching singing. And I was like, no, I can't. I had to be pushed a lot. And then I think I just started at home on a Saturday with about 10 or 12 students. Then it started getting bigger. Then I had to move to a hall. And then I remember one of my uncles, who's no more, he was like, don't just stick to teaching at home because that was like the norm here. Start an academy. And then he actually did up a business plan and told me. And so, that's how it just started.
How's the academy going right now?
It's going good by the grace of God, but it's a lot of hard work because so many issues, right? I mean, we have power cuts and the fuel crisis. Kids can't come to the academy, then they say, can we do virtual? Then there's a power cut, so they can't do virtual. So it's that vicious circle.
So what are the plans that you have for the academy? Obviously, your academy is actually run methodically. You have your intake.
And it's pretty big, right? Because there are multiple teachers.
Yeah, there are multiple teachers. There is vocal singing, there's individual choral singing, there's piano, violin, guitar, musical theatre, music therapy. So all this is running at the same time. Why would you like to come for therapy?
What's musical therapy?
No, I think we all need music.
we need therapy.
But therapy, I can't help you. My main thing is I want them to have that passion to perform.
Right.
So it's okay if you don't want to do exams, just enjoy performing. And I want to give them performing opportunities. I don't believe in just coming week after week for classes without a goal.
Right.
Yeah, so are we working towards a concert? Are we working towards an exam? Are we going to do a recording? I believe during Christmas you called us and I was like, let's take it. Although again, I didn't know how I was going to get the kids.
Right.
But I just said yes and then figured it out later.
Right.
So just to give them that opportunity to explore, do new things. So new thing now, I'm thinking of employing with the idea of having a performing children's group.
Wow.
Like a fun children's group.
Right.
And there's some kids pop or something that's quite famous now. So they're like, some of them are like, let's start this. So that's coming up.
What is your opinion about these many reality shows, reality singing competitions that we obviously have? It clearly started with American Idol, right? When American Idol is an absolute bore now because it's been going on for such a long time. It has moved on to so many different things, and we in Sri Lanka obviously have many. What is as a qualified, trainer and an international jury member as far as the judging panel. What's your real take on that?
Okay, before I give my opinion, so you do know I was on the board
Yes,
for Sri Lanka's Got Talent.
That's what I'm
so
asking
that
you.
was not particularly focused on singing,
No, it's talent.
but it was talent.
Yeah.
So in some ways, I think we, based in Colombo, have a lot of opportunities. But for those who are out of Colombo, they see these reality shows as their ladder to success.
Okay.
Right.
So they come forward. So in that sense, it's good we give them an opportunity.
Yeah.
But what next?
Yeah, that's the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, for example, there was this one boy who I just recently used for my Tamil show. He was on The Voice.
Right.
Exceptionally talented.
Right.
And I think he became one of the semi-finalists. But then now he has to look for his own opportunities.
Yeah.
And what next is the issue?
Absolutely. Actually, the prize shouldn't be just money.
Exactly.
It should be a record deal, like in the US. But unfortunately, I don't know whether we can offer that, or whether our market is mature enough to offer something like that.
No, because obviously you do realize the fact that many talented individuals who come on stage and sing are absolutely talented, like you said. But once the show is done, you never hear about them again.
They are left high and dry. We never hear from them again.
Exactly.
And what happens next is a big problem.
Yeah.
Also, somewhere down the line, I also feel, maybe I'm wrong, but with social media, sometimes the ones who may not be as exceptionally talented as some of them, they come up more because of how they promote themselves online.
Right.
And, the likes on Instagram,
Absolutely.
boosting, all that.
Absolutely.
So the one who cannot afford to do that sometimes doesn't have those chances. So
But
all that.
yeah, that's absolutely true. And actually, the same thing happens in the US. Why I stopped watching The Voice was when Lambert, what was it? When he lost. Adam Lambert.
Adam Lambert.
When Adam Lambert lost, you knew he lost simply because he was gay.
Right.
Right? And the other guy who won actually had a dickens of a time convincing everyone, I won. He's still saying it 15 years later.
Yeah.
But, so that's the problem, right? So that kind of manipulation happens there, here, everywhere. Unfortunately, talent should shine on its own speed.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than, I really don't want to know whether your mom had cancer and you battled through all of that.
But that's how these reality shows are. They
Absolutely.
build this whole story.
That is not relevant. That's a sad story.
The bottom line, it's actually a popularity contest.
That's what it is. So how you look determines a lot about whether you win or not.
True.
Yeah, that's true. That is absolutely
So
true.
we definitely. I'm glad we didn't go into singing. We're definitely going to lose.
No, who said so?
we wouldn't even got a place in the audition.
Tradhanama Sabha Sabhapati Sindhu
Anyway, as always, having a lot of good times as far as the show is. So don't forget, the Daraz Deal of the Day is on right now. And all you need to do is, there you go, on your screen right now. That is what you are going to win. Just go to the Daraz app right now. Take a screenshot and send it to that number 0750117777, and you have a chance of winning today on the show.
That's right. Just in case you didn't realize, there are two numbers now, right? Our hotline number is where you usually send in your questions to and the answers to the poll to. This other number is exclusively for the Daraz promotion every day.
And that is our hotline number. There you have it, 077-669-1590. If you got questions for Soundarie, you can always send in your questions by WhatsApp right now. What type of work goes into getting the best out of a singer?
A lot of work, but I don't like to push them to the extent that they don't like singing. So we, in terms of repertoire, so there is basic technique that they need to go through, the breathing technique, how to produce tone, how to project your voice. Those things we cover up at the beginning of a session. We do our warm-ups, and there are the physical warm-ups, because you can't just be lazy on a chair and think you're a great singer.
Right.
So now the younger ones, we actually get them to do a plank while singing.
Wow.
Yeah, so that kind of intense training is what it takes. And that, I must say, even Auntie Marianne, who was my vocal teacher, Marianne David, Marisa's too, I believe.
Yes.
And she actually always insisted on physical. So it's not something new that I have come up with, but something that has been there. So we work on the physical aspect, then the vocal warm-up, and then identifying and getting them to have that confidence to sing out and giving them opportunities. Like I said, just coming for classes is not going to help. You want to be out there, you need to be performing. Because performing is a totally different ball game when you're on stage, how to cope with nerves,
Correct.
all that.
Yeah.
So it makes you more confident. So a lot of hard work in becoming a singer.
Sorry, sorry.
So actually, no, I just want to ask, Soundarie, are you not thinking about putting a musical play, one of the Broadway's numbers here? Because I think you, more than anyone else, I mean, I'm on stage.
But I'm not a theatre person.
True. I mean,
So
you can
obviously I have to collaborate
with someone. But I think you do have, now I see, I hate to say this, but you know, but a lot of people who sing for musical theatre are unable to sing, you know, are unable to pitch the right kind of notes, especially when you're doing something of Andrew Lloyd Webber's, for instance.
True.
So I think you, more than anyone, are better positioned to kind of pull that off.
Yeah, I guess, but we must not forget that the workshop players have come up with some great musicals,
course,
and
they
I
do,
think their singers have been good
On
also.
point.
Yeah.
But I think you can do,
Yeah.
and as someone who's been on stage for the longest time, I say this, you know, because I would love to see that kind of talent that can actually rival Broadway.
True.
Because if we can win the choir games against the best of the best, that means
we have talent. That is
we are
no
on
doubt.
point. Because we don't want to see, you know, nobody would want to see, like, the bigger thing would be to go to England and see Andrew performance of Cats. You come to Sri Lanka and see the Sri Lankan version, and you'd say, you know what, this was absolutely on point.
True.
So,
But I'm sure there might be many directors out there who'll be standing in line to obviously work with you.
Really?
I don't know.
I
I'm just saying.
don't know either.
You don't think so?
trust me, the directors and their egos. Let's not even go there.
And like everybody is temperamental. I'm sure they must be saying, "Oh gosh, Soundarie is difficult to work with. Let's not work with her." So.
There's nothing to guess about it. I'm sure they've said it.
Here's a good
marriage
question.
also.
Here we
Good
are.
question. How do you manage your time with your academy, other social commitments, legal career, and marriage?
Marriage.
That's your husband, I'm sure.
That's
why there's no name on it.
Just said
I'm blessed with a very understanding and patient husband. My legal career, so I actually specialized in entertainment law and copyright law. So it's something I'm passionate about, and it connects to music.
Correct.
So I think the moment you identify your passion, then work becomes easier. So that's how I manage that. And so I am one of those people who puts for the day what I have to do, and then I feel quite good when I take it all.
Right.
So I think that kind of keeps me going. But of course, my husband says I use work as a mode of escapism where I don't deal with the realities of life, which I think is true. So I don't think anyone should aspire to be like me. It may not be the right road.
No, but you know, the thing is, I'm sure this would have been said about all great artists. And in my opinion, Soundarie, you are one of the best we have here.
Okay, that's a bit much, but that's okay.
No, but the thing is, it takes that kind of commitment. It takes that kind of escapism, the ignoring of whatever harsh realities out there in order to make things look good, make things
But
perfect.
when harsh realities really do hit you, then
when they come and bite you, of course.
It's like because I lost my dad suddenly last year too, and I just couldn't cope with it.
Right.
So things like that. So I think maybe it's not all that good to be so involved in work, but managing my time, I think that is key.
But you do it. I mean, you feel that you successfully do it.
Yeah, I think so.
You manage.
I know how others manage me, but
no, but it's worked. I think and that's for the betterment of a lot of people, especially I think the kids that are in your academy right now. I think they wax lyrical about the academy.
They enjoy it, and also what I tell them is you do not have to sacrifice your studies just because you're coming for singing or you're doing music. You should be able to manage both and balance it. So I tell them, finish your work and then tell your parents, you want to do this and come here. Then they will.
Actually, that brings me to another very important question, because I see this all the time in school when it comes to sport or any academic achievement. The parents, how do you manage the parents?
I try not to deal with them.
Another escapist
another escapist. So I get the office to deal with them any issues, but of course they are free to come and talk to me at any time. But I would rather have that personal relationship with the student than the parents.
Because the thing is this, right? Come on, you need to admit the fact that it's the parents that are actually pushing the kids to sing, to start.
Few kids would have wanted to.
A few would have, but obviously everybody that's what parents are. They would like to, they're more often than not, they'd like to live
Vicariously.
their dream through their kids and say, listen, I want to see my daughter or my son sing really well. There's nothing wrong with it. But my question is, what happens to the kids who are in your academy right now, who obviously start from right at the bottom and they go all the way to the top, and then they move on to unis and colleges and all that stuff? Why are they not continuing something that they did for the last 10, 15 years?
Also, I think, so coming from this whole South Asian mentality that I want my son and daughter to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, accountant. I remember, I am so thankful to my parents for being so supportive. But so I got entrance into law faculty, and at the same time I got into the Royal College of Music. So I had to get a deferment from law faculty, finish my music. And when I came back from London, I didn't want to do my law. I was like, I want to go back.
Get a deferment for your law faculty?
You know,
You can. If you negotiate right.
She just said,
so just I got one year deferment, came back and didn't want to go back to law faculty because I was like, I miss music. But somehow I did that because everybody said, including my lecturers, you deprived a child of getting into uni, now you have to finish it. And now I have no regret. So anyway, coming from that mentality where parents think academic, it should be the main focus. So I guess when it comes to uni, everything is forgotten when it comes to music. And also, it is hard being a musician in Sri Lanka.
Why?
Because unless you make it like a business and you can do really well, or if you perform in a band that's performing daily, I think that's good money involved. But otherwise, as teachers, as music educators, as someone even doing research in music, it's very tough.
But even in a band, all of them have fallback options. They all have day jobs. And then play on the band because they are never sure when this is going to end. You know, the joyride is going to end. And at the same time, I'm glad that you managed to get the deferment because Kumar Sangha
But I thought he did, no?
He's still reading for it.
He finished his degree because he entered uni while we were in our second year in uni, and we all used to. Then suddenly he's missing. He never saw him again, other than on the cricket pitch. Okay, so here we go. Sammani wants to know, how do we join the Soul Sounds Academy?
If they check our Facebook page, there's a number and they can just contact and the office would answer.
Do you have intakes or is it basically a rolling
Right now,
intakes?
for the new term, so we just reopened on Monday, so there is new intakes taken. Some of our piano and violin, I think, currently are full, but we are taking in new.
Moving on with, I know for a fact that according to our producers, there are quite a few questions, and we're just
he's filtering them.
He's filtering them right now, and by the time, obviously, we have those questions. Unfortunately, we may not be able to answer all the questions. But before we do end the show, we'll give you Soundarie's mobile number. You can call it.
Really?
No, we won't.
I don't even answer family calls.
I'm just kidding. Sounds, this takes us to the next question. What is actually lacking in our singers to take on the world stage? Is it the opportunity, or is it the resources, or is it the training? What is it that we don't have?
Or is it the talent?
It is definitely not the talent. It is definitely not the trainers, because I think we have got very good teachers. Going from my own teacher, Mary and David, now we also have, so many other people here. So who have been exposed to the international vocal world. So it's not those two. I would say it's the resources and it's the opportunities. But I think opportunities, now where we were concerned, we looked for the opportunities. Even at that time, I don't know. I think one conductor told me about the Wales competition, and then we wrote, we emailed, So we had to make those opportunities.
Exactly.
So I think even now, whoever wants to go out there, you need to make that. Nobody's going to come to you and say.
Because that is a problem, isn't it, for us? We feel that we are entitled. We feel that it needs to actually come on a platter. Yes, I'm a great singer. I know I'm a great singer.
When you
send me something.
And there is also money. Even to enter a competition, you have to be willing to pay that registration fee. You can't say, but we are Sri Lankans, or we can't. Why can't
please don't go
so that sense of entitlement, I must say, sadly, we seem to have.
Right.
But like I said, when I entered anything, I was like, no man, I'm entering, let's figure it out later.
Yeah.
So that's my
That's
attitude.
the best way to go about it.
Not really, but...
I mean, no, it is. But
the thing is, for a country of our stature, where the resources are limited, you have to find your way.
Yeah, you
and
have
that's the kind of attitude you need. You know, I'm going to enter this somehow and find the money
Yeah.
somehow.
Yeah.
because then you are forced to find the money,
Exactly.
right? Because you're skin in the game at the end of the day. Then
Absolutely.
Otherwise,
And the
you
thing
sit
is,
back and think about it.
you
Never
want
happens.
to win. All of us are human, right?
Yes.
We
Yeah.
all want to win. And the thing is, if you've got the talent, why should money stand in the way of that talent shining out there on the international stage? And that's what you need. So rather than say,
Yeah, you can't give up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you can't
that
give up.
mentality has to, because I remember so many things went wrong. I remember work wagons, which was in a place called Xiamen in China. So we had to go to Beijing and then Beijing to Xiamen. And the airline made a mistake in the code of Beijing Xiamen. They said it was 3,500 when it was 35,000.
Wow.
Right? So when I went to pay the day before to collect our tickets, they are like, it's not 3,500, it's 35,000. And then luckily 2 people came forward and they said, I will guarantee that this choir will come back, do a show and pay you all back. So
Right.
let them go. So, you know, that determination to, and then I remember Australia tour, we finished Perth, came into Sydney, one of our lead voices broke out with chicken pox. And then I'm like, how are we going to do? But then I was like, no, you come on stage and sing with your spots.
Really?
And then we went to Melbourne and then 9 others got chicken pox. But we still kept going. I mean, there's...
So why haven't you toured recently?
well, the last 3 years was pandemic, and I think the last time we toured was in 2016 or 17 to South Africa.
Okay.
So we have to start now. Of course, we've got a lot of young singers now. Of course, they are very much ready. So I am thinking of this. What is this?
Yes, Diane is asking this question. Who do you think is the most influential musician in the Sri Lankan music industry? It's going to be a very subjective answer.
Exactly, it's going to be very subjective.
It's an interesting question, though. But could it be in which genre, most probably, or is it
When you say music industry in Sri Lanka, you are talking about everybody.
And that's a fair amount of people.
Yeah, and I really wouldn't like to answer that because I think each musician has contributed to the industry.
Yeah.
From Maestro Amaradeva, again, who we had the honor of working with, and the likes of the late Mr. Nimal Mendes.
Right.
You know, they too have contributed. Of course, at that time, social media was not so prominent.
Yes.
And they did the best they could in that time. And of course, I think BNS have taken it far in terms of how they've marketed themselves. And of course, they are extremely talented, both voices.
Yeah.
There are so many musicians out there, so I really wouldn't want to say who.
And there are so many, music and sound engineers out there who've actually contributed immensely.
True.
When you never see these people, their names are just mentioned on the credits somewhere. Fortunately, because I work in the ad industry, I happen to meet all of them.
That's so
And they contribute immensely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but it's the ones that actually take the stage that always take the limelight.
Yeah.
I suppose that's just the way it is, isn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah. Soundarie, when it comes to commercial music, what's like what we hear on radio and on CDs and whatnot, do you feel this is something I've had a grouse with for the longest time? In the US, you had people like Quincy Jones or Jimmy Iovine. There's so many great producers. Are we severely lacking in the producing department?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest shortfalls.
Because right now, I'm talking from my experience as a choral director or a musician. So I have to not only see to the singing, I have to see to how we get the funds.
That's
I mean,
exactly
so as part of entertainment law, so we used to learn about the process. So you have talent agents, you have your manager, you have your touring manager, you have all this. Here, like the conductor is in charge of everything, from meal plans to rooming to everything.
So the resources once again comes into play. But this is one element. I felt that production is an element that not many people look at all. Nobody really aspires to be a music producer in Sri Lanka.
True.
They would rather be the star. But without realizing that you need this humongous back office support.
Exactly.
And then I also think sometimes the fact that, again, ego comes into play, but the star doesn't necessarily listen to the star who's behind, what is right for them and what it doesn't.
Michael Jackson listened.
Yeah, well, exactly.
Then he have the best-selling album of all time,
Of all
Thriller,
time,
you know, Quincy
yeah.
Jones.
Quincy
right?
Jones. So
Of
sounds
course,
like-
now we do have a few
we
producers.
do have
we
a-
have
we
to
do- we have
respect
some
the
very
fact that
talented
we
producers
yeah.
that are coming out,
Yeah.
and I think again opportunity,
Yeah.
which is sort of lacking. We're basically into the last 4 minutes of the show.
Oh wow, so
Right.
the hour went
Time
pretty
flies.
fast.
We knew
Yeah.
you'd say it. at the end of it. But one final question before we actually move on. Do you think we will ever see a global superstar in the world of music from Sri Lanka?
I think we will.
Do you think we have it in us to produce one?
I think we do.
We do.
Yeah.
And what is needed to actually unearth that gem?
I think again opportunities, resources, and like aiming for like the top class festivals or that, and not be, I mean, Grammys, all that. I know India is like really going far in terms of that. So yeah, we just need to think big.
Because we've
And
got...
I'm thinking beyond Bollywood, beyond.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's like.
yes. I'm thinking
Yeah.
basically, you know, in the US, in the UK.
Absolutely.
But we got some phenomenal artists in Sri Lanka, but they just don't want to get out of Sri Lanka.
That's true.
That's also
You know, we want to see a couple of Pereiras and Fernandos in the Vienna Boys Choir. That's what I'm thinking. You know, and the thing is, if you pitch it right and if you like target it, if you really want to do it, you can do it.
You can.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's whether you have the willingness, whether you are willing to put the money where your mouth is, kind of issue. That's it isn't right.
And I think we're not completely set in that industry itself.
Yeah,
I think
true.
we have now. You said we have the producers coming up.
Yeah.
We certainly have the talent, but now we need that business side to take
Exactly,
over, which is what
exactly.
we are not having at the moment.
That's so true.
You know?
And also, I think we are not, at least I don't see our musicians willing to do that extra bit of research. They think, oh, just the voice is enough. No, but we have to do research
Absolutely.
to check on what is there, what are the requirements, how do we get there, what do we start doing, you know, things like that.
And also, I mean, I'm sure there are lots of your students and lots of budding artists out there listening in. I think we should just get away from this whole thing. Is it we won't have a chance? What's the point? Let's not bother.
Let's
I
not
think it's just
think like that at all.
Drop that attitude,
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
So true.
I mean, come to think of it, we never thought that we'll be doing a TV show, Anu.
Absolutely. You know, the thing is, my attitude to life is very simple. Why not? You ask me something and just let's do it. Why not?
Exactly, same
Absolutely.
here.
Let's. And the thing is, behind that why not is why can't I?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, if you
So true.
actually, the thing is, you know, I got into stage Shaq by simply being caught smoking in school. Right? The punishment was either bring your father to school and explain this whole mess, or take part in the school play. Guess what? So you know what I mean. And so my attitude. So this is the kind of thinking that I'm trying to impart to my son too.
Right.
I said, don't shy away from opportunity because
Yeah.
it's around you all the time.
Right. And then so much that you obviously learn. Yes, you might not go through, but the learnings from that is what they don't want to sort of take in because they feel that they're not going to go through it. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
so-
Now, even like my young ones, when they say, oh, but we can't do this because we might, I said, don't give me problems, give me solutions. So
Correct.
if you have your problem, tell me what you're doing to solve it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
that's the best way to go about it.
I think we should announce the winner, right?
Yeah,
Before we
yeah,
go
we
off
should.
air.
And, but no, just before we go, I mean, we're talking about the choir festival. Soundarie, so shall we actually work together doing a choir festival in Sri Lanka?
I'm game.
You are?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
We should.
Yeah.
And
And
I
that will
think
be
it
the
will also
first-
give a chance for our own choral singers in this country to
Yeah.
come together. I mean, there are so many great choral directors.
I mean, we as a company would love to be a part of it. Pod would love to be a part of it. I'm sure our friends at Dialogue will also join hands.
Oh, that would be great.
Anu will basically take care of all the creatives. You got nothing
Yeah.
to worry about.
Thanks.
He has
No, but I would.
But
I
he has
will.
no choice.
He has to sing at least one solo line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not the choir festival.
But yes, that's something that we can definitely look forward to. So that you heard it right here. We're certainly going to be working towards that.
Yeah.
But before we go, it's time for us to reveal the winner of the show.
That's
today,
right.
the
We have
winner of
multiple
the day.
things to reveal now. The poll answers to the poll and
Sounds
yeah,
right.
yeah. The winner on the Dara's draw today. Let's see who that is.
The deal of the day.
Yeah, the deal
Oh
of
my
the day
gosh.
winner. Oh, all right, we
That
picked the
is
winner.
very
Oh, really?
Oh, really? We didn't know. We didn't know.
We didn't know. We didn't know.
All you had to do was actually that product of the day. You had to take a screenshot and send it to the dedicated WhatsApp line to that. And we picked the winner, Shenaya Jesudasan from Dehiwala. You are the winner on Dara's Deal of the Day today.
And that just confirms the fact that we didn't fake it.
We had no idea.
She's a singer anyway, so yeah.
So perfect.
Well, congratulations, Shania. You've got the deal of the day, and folks at Daraz will get in touch with you. Tomorrow we have every day we have a different deal that
That's right. Every day we have a deal of the day and one lucky winner per day. Also, we have to reveal the answer to the poll.
Which is...
the poll was this: is there a future for trained singers in Sri Lanka, yes or no? And you were supposed to WhatsApp your answers to our hotline number 07766915990. And here is the answer.
Welcome to the universe of the Raz, where you explore and discover whatever you want, whatever you need. All you can imagine is on your feet. When miles are abridged, happiness is unlocked. Discover your Daraz.
And we are back with the answers to the poll, and here they are.
What do you think?
No, that wasn't that wasn't it. Oh my goodness.
God.
5% say there is a future for trained singers in Sri Lanka. So you can see our, negative attitude, or our attitude, basically.
Yeah, or maybe they don't actually understand what trained singers...
No, but in all
mean.
fairness, I think it's difficult.
It is.
It's
Nobody's
fine
saying,
to be very positive and all that. So I guess maybe.
Yeah, this is perhaps it is actually the reality right now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
It
but
is.
the thing is, if you don't try, it's not going to just fall on your platter, just on your lap all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Also, just one thing. So there are those singers who naturally just sing without having any training and become famous. So I mean, there is room for them too. So I don't want it to be only trained singers who will have a
Certainly.
future. Yeah.
Rightio, thanks, Soundarie. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. It was an absolute pleasure having you on the show. As always, lots of fun. I'm sure this is a completely different interview that you've done amongst the many millions you have done before.
Yes, Shaq. Yes.
Yes, so
Very different, Shaq.
but thank you so much, Soundarie, for coming in. We in fact covered so much ground today,
Yeah, we did,
on
we
so
did.
many different
I
subjects.
enjoyed the chat very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, guys, for being a part of the show as always. We'll be back with you once again tomorrow night with another guest talking about another trending topic right here in Sri Lanka on Sitback with Shaq and Anu. Until we speak to you tomorrow night, have yourself a wonderful night.
I won't be here, Shaq.
Oh,
Take care. Bye-bye.
thanks.